Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Game Dojo. I am your triumphant host, The Game Ninja. Oh, I'm missing the Ring of Power. Sorry about that. Welcome to 24K movies, reviews, TV shows, and gaming. Gotta have the Ring of Power on. We can't do nothing without the Ring of Power. The precious. The precious leads us into the right places. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you could not tell by the thumbnail, we are talking about Madam Webb. Now, I know what you're saying. Everybody has been trashing this movie all across the forums, everywhere, and rightly so. This movie was horrendous. Now, that's not taking away from the actresses and actors, the talented people in this role. I mean, how do you have a beautiful cast like this and mess it up? Well, let's get into that. This is not going to be a blow-by-blow spoiler review because, I want people to make up their own opinions. I just inform you of the narrative. And this is another movie where you see check boxes being drawn all across the board. First of all, I'm going to say first and foremost, don't have a Spider-Man movie within the Spider-Man universe if you can't mention Spider-Man characters. If you can't call a baby Peter Parker because of copyrights, if you can't refer to certain characters as them, if you can't use with great power comes great responsibility because of copyright issues, then maybe you shouldn't be making this movie. And this is really where gaming and the movie companies clash. Why do I say that? Well, Sony has really not been great when it comes to making Marvel character movies. But when it comes to games, their stories are phenomenal and they knock it out the park. And I can't wrap my head around this. You are so great at making games and stories and narratives for the games, but when it comes to a real life movie within that universe, or that you're trying to create your own universe, what the hell happened? Yeah. Now, I understand realistically, Sony had a deal between Marvel, and which is now a property of Disney, and I understand when they had the whole Tom Holland thing put on pause because how they wanted Spider-Man to be, and they had some say-so over the rights of this, and they had to say so over the rights of that. I get it. I get there are delicate politics within the governing community of this movie. But the people who watch the movie aren't on the board of investors. They're the people that you're catering it to. They're your audience base. They are where the money is coming from in ticket sales for the revenue of your movie. So alienating your client base is not a smart business strategy. We've seen that tons of times with different companies, Fortune 500 companies who go belly up and fold. Why would you think it'd be any difference when it comes to a Marvel property? Or better yet, a comic book universe who is historically very critical over things being said and made into movies. So let's talk about Madam Web. First of all, and like I said, I take nothing away from the actresses and the actors because you can be a talented person in a piece of shit. We've seen it with our favorite actors all the time. You're like, well, they were good in it. I can't even say that because for most of the movie, we were clickbaited. We were made to believe this is what we would see. Well, I'm sad to say, in all honesty, you only get about maybe 30 seconds of that, if that, in a flashback. So if you're going to see the Spider Women fight in a movie, don't go and see it because you're going to be let down, highly let down. If you were going to see Madam Web in her chair with her, Kenshi tie back, you're going to be sadly disappointed. I don't think the actresses were miscast or the actors were miscast. I think the script was a horrendous piece of shit, and I do believe that they were pushed into it. Everybody knows about Dakota firing her talent manager after she saw the first television spot of the commercial, and I get it. I get it. I really get it. This movie is reminiscent of something you would see back in the early 90s before comic book movies were even taken seriously. Um, I just have to say this because as a media enthusiast who grew up on movies, all kinds of movies, A movies, B movies, C movies, D movies, E movies, F movies, and then you have complete trash. Even some of the complete trash movies have redeeming qualities. I have nothing redeeming about this that I can say. The dialogue is not even comic book. It's horrible. If you actually told me that an AI wrote this script, I could believe it. Except for an AI would probably do a better job. That would be limiting an AI's ability to create. Um, how can I go into this without ruining it for you? Okay, so she's an EMT. EMTs are people who help people. They take care of people. They save people because that's their job. If you don't want to save people, why would you have that job? That's like a doctor who doesn't see patients. Do you see the math not mathing in that? So there are so many scenes where Dakota refuses to help people because we get it. She's an asshole. In the comics, she's an asshole. I get it. But not making her a likable character, period, on any platform. Oh, I can't help you. This is actual one words. Oh, I can't help you. You're an EMT. You help people. That's what you do. I'm not even going to start with the beginning of this movie where a woman was reading a spider web and somebody wants to kill her with a gun over a spider. Bro, I'm trying not to be like everybody else and just attack it outright, but it's hard when you give us so much ammo from beginning to middle to end. And let me just say, the whole Pepsi sign thing, the whole Pepsi sign debacle in the end, dropping on someone, I won't say who, and a shard blinding someone and putting them in a wheelchair, I won't say who. This is not how you make a movie. This is not how you make a Marvel movie. This is not how you make a Sony movie. This is not how you make a game. Unfortunately, we were clickbaited into this movie like so many Sony movies and so many Marvel movies. And the real question is, why have they sucked? The past, I would say 25 movies coming from these studios have really sucked badly. And it's starting to get to a point now where you can't just say it's one person. You can't just say, oh, this is what they're doing. Because honestly, if you're in the business to make money and you're making money, the only way these people will understand that is with your ticket sales, guys. I keep telling you guys, if you want to speak volumes to these companies, do it with your money. Do it with your paychecks. Don't support it. And I know that seems hard because everybody, is at a time where they want some sort of release. They want some sort of thing to hang on to. And when it comes to media, it's not that hard. Now that streaming services have upped their prices and they've turned into television where you have to wait week to week to week when we used to get everything dumped at one time, streaming has become television, and television is still too expensive on the cable networks. So what do? It's almost as if a multiverse of media has destroyed itself and there are variants everywhere. We're living in a real life Marvel universe. I guess this would be 616. But on the same token, I digress. I'm getting too far off point. Madam Web is so horrible at points that it doesn't take itself serious. And there's no way you're going to make me believe that an actual person sat down and wrote this script and was okay with it, sent it to a board of people, they were okay with it, and then the first draft of this movie when they were making, they were okay with it. If you're going to look for Cindy Sweeney in her spider outfit, you better wait for it to come on DVD and pause it. But I wouldn't even recommend that you buy it, because it's a waste of your money. It's a waste of your money. And frankly, I keep saying this, I'm done with modern movie making. Like, my foot is out the door. It's funny, the one thing I did say, if you go back and look at my movie reviews, is I was saying A Quiet Place 2. The best part of A Quiet Place 2 were the first 10 minutes of that movie when they did a flashback. And I said it over and over again. I was like, why can't you make a movie that entire basis premise of that flashback when they invaded? That is the action. That is the money. That is the honey. And lo and behold, here we go. Now they have A Quiet Place Day 1. So I'm glad somebody out there is listening. Somebody has an ear to the floor and they're listening for great movies, because great movies are few and far between. And after the writer's strike, we're going to have a bunch of horrible trickling movies out. But I'm hoping there'll be a few diamonds in the rough that'll give us the ability and faith to say that the movie genre is not dead. I mean, otherwise, we just go back and just watch the old school ones. No, wait, they're trying to take away your physical media, so they're trying to do all digital so that you can't do that, because you never really own things when they're digital. As some of my PlayStation brethren are finding out when copyrights run out on things. Oh no, you purchased the digital licensing right for that game, but it's run out, which means you don't own it, which means you don't have it, which means we can take it back, which means you just lost your money. And we're sitting there like, wait a minute, what? Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rethink physical media. I keep saying that before. I'm on the horns because I'm for it and against it at the same time. Physical media can be so consuming that it takes up so much space and so much things that you end up actually looking like this. Like, my room looks like a store. So many people tells me it looks like a store, a gaming store. But that physical media is what makes those memories possible. If I'm playing Nintendo, let's say I'm playing an emulation Nintendo on my computer, and I have the light gun or an actual Nintendo controller, it just ups that experience a little bit more. Now, I have the original Nintendo. Of course, I can play it. I have the original cartridges that I can blow, put alcohol in it, and clunk it down. Pause. I have the Mini, which I can just plug in and go straight through that with games added to it. But the experience is what we're after. And when it comes to movies, media, music, television, games, it's all about the experience. And the experience is slipping away from us like Thanos snapped with all the Infinity Stones. It's going. And I never thought I'd live to see the day to say that media has gone the way of the dinosaurs, because it has. I mean, this, such a great idea. And there, believe it or not, there are certain key moments in here where you could see where somebody wanted to go and where they want it to be. But I guarantee you they were vetoed and told, if you don't want to be on this project, we'll move on to somebody else. And now that horrible video surfaces about some of the Marvel executives at Disney telling people, you know, don't read the comic book. We don't want anybody who knows anything about the comic book. And you're like, you're making a movie. All right, let's pick one IP. Let's say you're making a movie about the Incredible Hulk. And all the people working on the Incredible Hulk, you don't want to know about the Hulk. You don't want to read the comic books about the Hulk. You don't want them to have any experience with the Hulk whatsoever, but they make a Hulk movie. This is why failure is upon you. And it's not just Disney. It's not just Disney and Marvel and Sony. It's the Hollywood studios and all the studios. This is why I like independent films. Independent films have the ability to take a chance because they have nothing else. And that's why some of these independent films are so amazing. Some of the best films that I've seen lately and TV shows have come out on independent film companies on streaming services, not in the theater. Because apparently the movie people forgot how to movie, yo. How do you forget how to movie, yo? Your job is movies, yet you forgot how to movie in the movie industry. And then we hear all these stars coming out now with all these horrible stories about how they're treated and what they went through. What the hell was going on in Hollywood during the golden age of when we loved movies? It's pretty bad. It's actually pretty bad. I mean, our entire childhood, movies, television, and media have been ground into dust, stomped on them, and somebody's done the Mexican hat dance. What can I give Madam Webb? I will honestly tell you, I have not a rating in this dojo that I've created yet for this movie. It was, and like I said, I take nothing away from the actresses. The actresses are great at what they do, and we've all seen them in other things. Euphoria, we've all seen them in other things where they're great in it, so we know they're not the problem. So wherein lies the problem? Is the script and the people and the executives who told them, oh, do it my way, or, you know, we'll look for somebody else. I feel bad because the actors and actresses in this movie are being judged, and they really should not be, because they have volume. They have the ability to act. We know this. We've seen it. There's evidence. They have a catalog. Everybody in this movie is a talented person. But even if you have a talented group of people in a piece of shit, you're just going to have a piece of shit with talented people. And unfortunately, that's what we have. Now, the lowest rating I've ever given was Rusty Metal. And unfortunately, I would have to look up to see Rusty Metal from Madam Webb. So this is below that. This is the first time on this game, movie, TV channel review that I have no rating.
How about this disintegrated metal?
No. I can't give them any metal, because metal is worth something. Any form of metal is worth something, and this is worthless. This is completely worthless. So I'm going to give this the first ever complete dog shit rating. And I feel bad saying that. I really do feel bad saying it. And here's the thing. I don't want to blame Sony, but I have to. But you guys are amazing with your Marvel games. You're amazing with your Spider-Man games. So what the hell happened? See, it's a mathematical equation to me that doesn't make sense. You have Sony, who knows what they're doing when it comes to Sony games. They have stories. They have great stories.
They've actually
Spider-Man.
They've actually
universe.
They've actually did do good with movies, but it's the people that they're hiring that don't know what the storyline is with this. No,
they've already admitted that's what they want in theaters. They don't want people who know anything about the IPs. Which, and that's the point. Okay, so like I was saying, you have Sony, who we know is talented for stories and stuff through games and everything else. When it comes to movies, not so much. You have these actresses who are talented in tons of things. We've seen them before. And with that 2-punch knockout, you should have had something. I'd rather watch Geely. Matter of fact, I'd rather watch Mario Van Peebles in Solo, where he was a fake Terminator with 7 different parts of DNA, and he had the ability of Michael Jordan, was one of the DNA abilities they gave him. Okay, so Solo is so oh my God, I can't even begin. This is below Solo somehow, some way. Even when things suck so bad, they're actually pretty cool. This doesn't do that. This just sucks. And it's bad because we're clickbaited. Once again, I'll show you. You were looking at these talented actresses, Cindy Sweetie, Dakota. The other two escape me for right now. Forgive me about that. My brain is just not on them. I'm completely flustered with this. But what you're looking at right now, I'm going to say 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have officially seen more of them right here now on my screen than they are in the movie as these Spider Women. That's right, you were clickbaited. They are in the movie in a flashback in 2 small scenes, so quick and so fast that it doesn't even deserve a credit. And if you're waiting for an end credit scene at the end of this movie, there is none. They knew when you got to the end of this movie, your ass needed to get up and walk out. And here's the thing. Dakota tried to tell us in movie interviews before the movie came out. She even fired her, like I said, her talent manager when they saw the first spots of this as trailers coming out. She knew it sucked, but she couldn't say it. And she's going on many interviews where she's tiptoed around the correct words. And I understand, because she's held to contract. She's making money. She probably wants a Madam Web sequel or something in the future. So I get it, but I understand. But she was preparing us for damage. She was doing damage control when she was going on a press tour. And I really am angry at the state of affairs in Hollywood. Our actors and actresses, I do believe, when they went on strike, should have just never came back. I think, and I would love to say everybody go to streaming, but streaming has become television now. Streaming, if you're listening to me, all the streaming services, if you're listening to me, you used to be great. To quote a man in another red hat, make TV great again. You guys had the ability to take people away from cable. The first time it's ever been done. You took people away from cable. People got everything they wanted in full meals. They binge watched seasons. Your ratings were high. People went crazy. You guys made great series. And now we're back to television again, where you have to wait week to week to see another episode. You don't give everybody the meal at once. You're so afraid that people are going to leave your platform that you force them to say by spreading out TV episodes. You now have become television. That was the failure of cable. And that's why cable still exists, because they know sooner or later you were going to fuck it up. And you did. You guys need to figure out an equation, besides raising your prices, that helps your client base. Because honestly, people have one foot out the door and in the door when it comes to media. Movies, streaming, television, music, radio. People are at their wits' end. This is the most tight, uptight, angry, depressed society we've ever had in our entire lives. People do not have the money. They do not have the jobs. They do not have the housing situations. They don't have the lives that they want to live in because of our current state of affairs and economy. So when they look to these things, these movies, these television shows, these games, they are looking for an escape so that they're not on a clock tower with a high tension powered rifle looking to end people. You guys have that ability. You learned it when you went through the strike, you actors. You saw how many people supported you, how many people paid you to come out to dinner, how many people talked to you on Zoom, how many times people sat in on all your video calls. You know you have fans. You owe it to your fans, your client base. That's the reason why you have money. That's the reason why you're millionaires, is because these people make you who you are. If you alienate and eliminate your client base, your company will fold. It's a business strategy that we've seen 1,000 times. Except for at the end, the corporate executive on top of all you people, he's going to take his billions and buckets of money and walk away and leave you guys penniless. You have the power to change the industry right now. Everyone. Every single last person has the ability to make a dent. And if you make enough dents in that son of a bitch, it will crumble. Streaming. Do better. Cable.
You're coming back tenfold, it looks like.
You need to lower your damn prices. I don't need HBO West, North, South, Mexico, Africa, Italy. Like, I don't need 1,000 of the same programs on the same stations. Do better, cable. Cable, you need to do better. You need to do better. You know it. Streaming services, you need to be better. If you're going to raise your prices, make it worth it. If you're going to squeeze all the money out of your clients, make sure the juice is worth the squeeze. And I do pay for streaming, and I am a streamer. And I will tell you, out of all the streaming services I only watch one or two. One or two, guys. You have like 18 streaming, 20 different streaming services. I'm starting to believe South Park was correct when they made the streaming wars. And when it comes to movies, you guys are on the cusp, and I never thought I would see it. You are on the cusp of losing the cinema experience forever. People have home cinemas, people have physical media, which they still will intend to use because you guys are showing people that digitally they own nothing. So the more you take away from people digitally, the more they're going to go back to physical media. So if you're trying to wean out physical media, you're not going to do that by literally alienate these people. So movies, TV, video games, TV shows, streaming television, Hollywood, Marvel, DC. You guys are on the cusp of losing for the first time in history the ability of American and worldly cinema. Do you realize you're losing it? People would rather watch foreign cinema, independent films, than anything right now American-based, because you've lost what it is to movie. How do you move? If you're in the movie business, how do you forget how to movie, yo? You're in the movie business. And then we have all these stars talking about how they've been molested, mishandled, attacked, abused. It sickens me. It really does sicken me. So with all of this bullshit going on, how do you expect people to line up at the movie theater for their Will Rogers combo, which is $46.50, or pay for those tickets that are now $37.50, depending on where you sit in the theater, because now you want to charge people differently in certain theaters for where they sit, like it's an airplane ticket? You guys have lost your fucking mind. I'm going to say it 100%. You have lost your mind. And time will tell, and people will show you with their dollars that they're not supporting this shit anymore. Even the president of Disney, Bob Iger, sees the woke bullshit is not working. Even people, I have friends who are LGBTQ all across the platforms. They hate being gay baited in these movies where people are just like, oh, check this off, check that off, check this off, check this person off, check this person off. All right, we good. So then what's the movie about? Oh, the movie's about nothing. We just have all the right people in it. No, you're not. You're serving an agenda, and nobody wants to be forced an agenda. If I'm literally browbeated over my head with 1,000 slavery movies, you really think I want to go see another slavery movie? No. As a brown person, I understand. I want to be represented in movies, cinema, and video games, which sometimes that can happen and sometimes it can't. But you have to be realistically. I actually heard people angry at Marvel for Shang-Chi because there wasn't enough other races in Shang-Chi. It's a Chinese superhero movie. You might want to have some Chinese people in it. Same thing with Black Panther. Same thing with Blue Beetle. You guys do not understand, and it's called acting. If a person is really handicapped and they're playing a handicapped role and they're a handicapped actor, that's fine. But if you have a human person that's normal playing a handicapped person in a role, you don't cancel them. It's called acting. That's what they're doing. That's what you give them awards for acting. You guys do understand these are actors and actresses. This is what they do for a living, to entertain. If they really had the same afflictions that they're playing in the movie, then it's not acting, is it? No, it's not. The world has become so politically correct and cautious over every single last little thing that the movie theaters are afraid to be movie theaters. The movie studios are afraid to be movie studios. The music is afraid to music. Gaming is afraid to gaming. Television is afraid to television. Streaming is afraid to stream. Like, when does it stop? Because you're going to come to a cusp, and one or two things are going to happen. Either people are going to say, fuck the movie industry, which can happen. I know you don't want to believe it, but it can happen, because during COVID, when people weren't going to movie theaters, how much money did the movie theaters lose? Exactly. But did the people riot? No. They just watched it at home. Home. No theaters. No $36.50 for a Will Roger combo, or $8 for a hot dog, or $20 for a soda, or $50 for tickets. They watched it at home. And that should scare you, because you are on the cusp of losing that media cinema. It's true. Streaming, you're on the cusp of losing people and subscriptions because of your damn prices. I understand inflation affects everybody, but the whole thing is, you don't want people sharing accounts. You want to raise prices. What are you given in return for any of those people to keep your streaming services? Because if you don't have any new movies and you just keep the same bullshit, then what are they paying for? They might as well go back to cable, which is what cable is counting on. So cable's at your door, and when it comes to cable, their prices is too damn high.
And
so people buy what? Fire sticks, fire boxes, Google boxes. They buy everything else to get around it. What I'm saying is, people will find a way if you do not please them.
And for a takeaway, when you do buy cable, because now cable has it where you can stream their cable services wherever you are, and they don't charge you more money to stream those things, but you streaming services are just doing that, and we don't know why. The whole idea of streaming, you can watch it anywhere.
Like I said, you guys need to do better. I'm a small channel with a person's review, but I am sick and tired till I can impute coat hangers over the state of affairs when it comes to cinema, movies, television. And you know what? Quite honestly, I found myself watching more Korean horror films, streaming Japanese, Spanish, like all these foreign imported series and movies, because they just cut through the bullshit and they just tell a story and they make a movie, and that's why they're so popular. You want to know why Train to Busan was such a hit? Do you want to know why All of Us Are Dead was such a hit? You want to know why all these shows like what is that game show that everybody was watching where people died?
Was it Dead Set?
No,
From a while back?
no, the Asian show that everybody was watching with the red light, green light.
Oh, Squid Games.
Squid Games. You want to know what made those so popular? There was no agenda in the movie.
They just made a movie.
There was hardly any sex in the movie.
They just made a movie. They just made a TV show. That's how it should be.
They just aimed to please. It's that simple. So, ladies and gentlemen, from the Game Dojo, Madam Webb is a 0. It is a 0, and I feel bad because there's so many talented people in a 0. But then again, like I said, Mario Van Peebles, talented actor. He was in Solo. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, Geely. You can have great people. As recently, I watched Idris Elba in this lion movie where him and his daughters is trapped in a car and they're being attacked by lions. You can have amazing, great, talented Academy Award women and men horrible in scripts, pieces of shit. Here's the thing, guys. You can refuse a script. You can go back and do rewrites. It's the same thing they did with Sonic. Sonic came out with the same bullshit. The people spoke. They went back to the drawing board, remade Sonic, and Sonic was a hit. Do you see that simple mathematic chemistry? You can do that across the platform. Sony, it cost you more money to make this than you've earned. And I feel sorry. I really do feel sorry, because as a platform, I love Sony. As a platform with games, your stories are some of the most amazing. The Last of Us, Spider-Man. I can go on. I just think you need to tap into some of those resources that make those stories for your games, for the movie. And here's the thing. Why can't you use the same people who work on a game, the writers and concept development team, in your movies? Oh, afraid they would make a hell of a movie? Look, guys, do better. It's 2024, and we may have seen the end of movies as we know it. And you know what? I feel fine. The Nightmare Creature has tons of physical media. You've seen my room. It looks like a store. I have tons of physical media as well as digital media. We don't need to settle for less than what we're worth. Know your worth. Know what you want. And see what you want to see. If you don't want to see pieces of shit keep getting made, then support it with your dollars. Tell them no. From the Game Dojo, I'm the Game Ninja. This has been 24K. And unfortunately, don't go see that shit. Don't buy it on DVD. Unfortunately, wait till it comes out on streaming. It is what it is, yo. But as long as the movies forgot how to movie, yo, this is where we gonna end up at. I said it before, I'll say it again. This could be the end. Thank you guys. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for making my channel what it was. Thank you guys for checking out my Tomb Raider video. I was a little bit disappointed in that remastered version, but that's for another thing. I just want to let you guys know this was my thoughts and my opinions on Madam Webb, and it's shared across. Actually, it's got the lowest possible score on Rotten Tomatoes right now. And I don't even judge by Rotten Tomatoes at all. I'm going by almost every single last person I know that watches movies who are fans of Sony and the source material.
Not to mention so many people actually complained about it. It wasn't just one-sided thing. There's been millions of people putting out reviews for this movie, and they all said it sucked.
Yeah, there you go. Directly from the mouths of babes. Anyway, I'll check you guys later. Stay tuned for my next review. We out.